Welcome back to the morning after Paris, our second of two previews here on the channel. Welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic week. Pez, our last preview, because the Olympics have already started, so it only sort of makes sense that we're wrapping up the previews as we go along here. The morning after Paris is brought to you by Smith Optics Australia. Use the code FAST for 25% off your order at smithopticsaustralia.com. Pez, on the show, cyclist Luke Plapp,
Plappy.
Australia's own Plappy. How are you, Plappy? Is on the show to give us the inside run from inside the village, and self-described swimming guy from the Sydney Morning Herald, Tom Decent, fires us up with some pool chat. It's mostly just men groaning and making noises at the sounds, the sights of names, essentially. That's all to come on the show. Pezza, the Olympics have started. Have you got the fever?
Mate, like, it would be very easy to start cosplaying somebody with the fever. And I will do that, and I reserve the right to do that. But I have to be honest, I do have more fever than I expected. The last 72 hours have been like an avalanche of emotion for me. I didn't expect the reaction that we've had to our first preview show. Like there is an undercurrent of like love and I think borderline indoctrination of people when it comes to the Olympics, Australia's relationship to the Olympics, Australiana, etc. We have had an unprecedented amount of feedback, not to be confused with a feedback.
Did you say feedback?
No, we haven't had people delivering feedbags.
Yeah, but we are available to that.
Yeah, and I said feedback,
Yes.
what horses have.
Yeah.
So just for example,
Yeah.
the segment that we kicked off last week, or last show, sorry, Boys Actually, which is inviting people to correct us wherever we're wrong on the Olympics, because that's actually embedded within our constitution. You're allowed to sit down and watch the Olympics for 2 weeks, pretend you know what you're talking about when you don't. Australians love correcting people.
It's actually a third verse in the national anthem. Not many people know that. But
that's right, and people have written into boysactually@gmail.com with that exact point. But I just wanted to give a little précis, and I will say the French word précis, of what we received from Boys Actually. There's going to be a bigger Boys Actually section at the end of this show.
Yeah.
But firstly, there was 50 plus responses on what slob wizard refers to. So slob wizard being Australia's own Josh Giddey.
Yeah.
Brian Gorgian says he's carrying the team. So slob wizard refers to sideline, out of bounds wizard. So he's excellent at actually inbounding the ball when it's out.
He's actually the best.
And everyone knew that.
He's actually the best.
He's the best in the business.
Yes.
The slob wizard.
The slob wizard.
That is, yeah. So 50 responses on slob wizard. That was easily the highest respondent kind of theme. There was some Napoleon stuff. Everyone wanted to let us know how to pronounce Jess Fox's sister's name.
Yes.
All right. Can I reveal here, or would you like to reveal?
No.
It's Noemi. Noemi Fox. Noemi.
Yeah.
Pronounced Noemi. Now that's straight from Noemi's mouth.
Yes.
We went there.
Yeah.
That said,
Yeah.
a lot of people will tell you that it's not.
There's a couple of opinions.
Yeah, a couple of opinions on the ground. There's a high-profile member of the Olympics coverage,
Yeah.
I won't say which country, you could probably guess, who told us that a colleague on air said, and you can fact-check me on that, to which they almost replied, boysactually@gmail.com. And there was an actual member of the TGC staff who wrote in to boysactually@gmail.com saying that Alexander Popov was a strong 100-metre swimmer in the year 2000, seemingly unable to recognise exaggeration as a storytelling device. So just saying, boysactually@gmail.com if you want to let us know where we've got something wrong, if you want to ensure that you can let us know that you are aware of what actually goes on at the Olympics, boysactually@gmail.com.
Nothing more frustrating when you hear someone talk and it's actually incorrect. So this is your opportunity. It's one of that actually should be an Olympic sport come 2028 for me. Brendan wrote in, he said, boys, I'm talking about the fever of the nation.
Yes.
Similar to the Indiana fever, who Caitlin Clark plays for in the WNBA.
Thank you.
I'm not talking about that.
And dengue fever.
No tribute to contribute, just a shout out to say that before your video, I had minimal care for the Olympics, but now I'm absolutely chomping at the bit, ready to strap on a feed bag and go to work. Keep them coming, cheers. So, it's, we're just sort of building up to the Olympics come the ceremony on Saturday night.
Indeed, and I don't want to expel all the carrots that we have available in terms of energy. But I have to say, mate, like in terms of personal experience, last night, my wife was out to dinner with some colleagues, got the boys to bed early, and sat on the lounge, and I had two options of TV. Firstly, NITV was doing a wonderful documentary on Buddy Guy, straight out of the blues, 1940s. And I've seen Buddy Guy play, sensational blues player.
Yeah.
But then I saw Channel 9, and it was just called Road to Paris preview. Turned it on, and look, people know that we do some work for mainstream TV, both in Australia and in India. No dog in the fight here. Morning After Paris is an independent operation, but I just want to applaud Channel 9's coverage for this, because it was just a cavalcade of wanted, needed, enjoyed soft propaganda about Australia, and that is what the Olympics is. So don't get me wrong.
Yes.
So I'm applauding Channel 9's coverage here, and Stan as well. They have a cast of thousands. The backdrop is just the Eiffel Tower, perfectly centered. Everybody looks good, and the way the coverage rolled from like medal hopes to the pool to, and mate, they had this segment on parents and families. I was bawling.
Yeah, right.
Bawling. Montage, 12 different families, drone footage of like, Denny, the discus thrower there at his country farm, throwing in a makeshift, like a sort of field there. Mate, and brothers, sisters, like...
Mums,
no, it was not an advertisement for Paddy's Markets. But the whole, like, it was the whole thing. And, like, I can't even... I was talking to a mate this morning on the phone, explaining it to him, nearly crying, talking about how proud parents are. And parents are on there saying, like, I'm going to be really nervous, but not for winning, but just because of how much this means to them.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, getting emotional talking about it now.
Yeah.
And, like, mate, of course, but, like, I am one of the greatest suckers for the parental shot post touching the wall. Mate, that does me. And like I do have issues around, like a kid at school, prep, do something in assembly, I'm gone.
You're gone, yeah.
And that's going to be a thing.
Well, look, and for many people, Pez, the great Australian dream, different to the great Australian dream, which is for most people playing third grade in the Shute Shield. Yeah. For the great Australian dream, owning a property, owning land.
That's right.
Owning a house.
Some might say a fading dream.
It's a fading dream, what with the foreign investment, franking credits.
For certain age groups, yeah. You might have 3 or 4 if you're a bit older. Yeah.
If things have gone really well,
lucky.
If you've been really lucky with your investments,
smart,
just made a couple of good decisions.
But go on about the great Australian dream.
But with today, maybe the great Australian dream now is to be an Olympian, because for most of us, tuning in at a sport we've got no experience in, never seen it before, I could do that. The Olympics is a dream that we can all touch still, just about. There's relatable stories left, right, centre. People living off the land, building skate parks in their backyard, shot putting heavy bricks, and some farmland or whatever the fuck they've done.
The thing is, like, the Olympics roll. There's a dizzying array of events and stories. I've got my head is turning on a pike.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm a circus act at Darling Harbour with my mouth open. People putting balls in my mouth. Just everywhere. It is an absolute smorgasbord of sports and events, all of which I have about a 7 to 8 out of 10 knowledge of.
7 to 8,
of course, at minimum, right? And when it starts, no. And for example, they crossed to Molly Picklum last night over there in Tahiti. Now they're surfing in Tahiti, not quite in France, a fair way away. And you just start to nod your head when she's talking about the swells and the barrels and just what's happening with the reef there, etc. And just being at one with the waves and hoping you get the right one. I'm sort of nodding side mouth, one cheek raised. But this is the way the fever just sneaks up on you with the Olympics.
That's right.
I know that we're going to get to some overnight results. The men's have a couple of wins in the sevens, so all of a sudden, we're in the quarters of that. So I'm expecting gold, nothing but gold, out of that.
Expectations are high right now.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's like pre-season in cricket. Like there's nothing, no one's doing anything wrong. Everything's perfect. Mate, they had a segment last night about like a couple of guys who fell off the bike on the BMX in Tokyo, knocked out, and so now have a better preparation. Parents watching as well. Mate, it's just there's just stories deluxe.
I'm seeing Australian athletes on my Instagram feed, doing their get ready with me stuff. And I've got to sit there pretending like I'm interested in, like, oh yeah, you're going to wear those shorts for that event. Well, meanwhile, I'm gawking at primed rigs of athletes representing the nation, and I've got to pretend like I care about what singlet they're wearing, what color it is. Oh yeah, interesting, yeah. But I'm up for it in more ways than one, Cesar.
You may have also just created a new segment, which we've been knocking around in the studio anyway, gawking at primed rigs. Not to be confused with ribs. When we were over in Dallas recently.
You went to a butcher's shop. I'm gawking at
Terry
prime
Black's
ribs.
there in Dallas. I was gawking at prime ribs there. But no, gawking at primed rigs.
Primed rigs.
Let us not. I mean, you right. Look, this is going to be the unofficial channel anyway. But boysactually@gmail.com. Now, I don't want like nefarious and inappropriate shots of rigs. I would prefer reasoned, intellectualized views on which rigs reign supreme.
Yeah, and why?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose the why would be obvious, but yeah.
Well, but that's when you get into proclivities, etc. And there's no shaming of anyone's proclivity here.
Talking about, I'm also getting excited by Lockie McCurdy. Shout out to Lockie McCurdy.
I have this here.
And his work. Putting a schedule together.
He's the Australian Eastern Standard Time scheduling goat. I've always said that.
Yeah. It's not a catchy title that he's called.
It's AEST scheduling goat. Yeah. But he is. Lockie
you should follow him on Twitter.
Shout out Lockie McCurdy if you want AEST, and he can do others as well. He's put together one of the. He's linked to an Excel spreadsheet.
He's actually said that he'll do personalised ones. So just contact him
right.
with your schedule at work. If you're a shift worker, what your sleep schedule. If you got events coming up, if it's your mate's birthday, let him know. Contact him directly, and he'll sort out a personalised event calendar for you. He said that. That's what he said.
Sorry about that, Lockie, but that and he'll do it for free.
He'll do it
with his top off. I guess the other thing that occurs to me is and I know we touched on this last week. What we're doing is we're capturing the last 72 hours as the fever builds. I don't know what we're doing really. A lot of people have been asking that same question, especially Indians on YouTube.
The hockey will come.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And the chess grandmasters.
72 hours, Pezza.
Is things start occurring to you, like the array of identities that the Olympics offers one. Mm-hmm. It's all well and good to be a normie, who's into just the soft propaganda Australiana, which is largely begins at childhood. You're indoctrinated with it. It's in the curriculum.
That's right.
For example, this morning, I received a text from my son's school, and this hasn't happened before. Okay. Nothing of this kind of on this theme, but it just says Green and Gold Day.
Oh, yeah.
The school is joining people all around Australia and turning green and gold. We encourage all children to dress in green and gold where they can and really celebrate our Aussie team as they participate in the Olympics. This is not a fundraiser or free dress day. So keep your coins at home and just join in the fun as we chant LA Australia. Oh, yeah. It's next Friday, Green and Gold Day.
Can I come?
I think we'll do it here. But no, you can't. You're not allowed to enter the school grounds. Thanks. Yeah. But that's what a normie would do. Get into the soft core Aussie propaganda stuff. But you've also got the people who define themselves in opposition to I don't get into the Aussie stuff. I actually get into the actual Olympic stories. Your Kipchoge's, or Kipchoge, I should say, for example, or your politics, etc. I get into my history. My 2,800 years ago, ancient Olympic origins, the offerings to Zeus, etc. I'm just saying that this is what the Olympics offers. It gives people little identities from which they can define themselves. Yeah. So I've got the fever way more than I expected to.
So overnight, the men's football started. In fact, the Matildas are playing this evening. They're playing at 3 a.m. I think it is against Germany. That's Friday morning.
And it's sort of I do believe that one win might be enough,
right?
Out of this tough group,
right?
Got.
Well, the men's football started last night. It was Morocco against Argentina, the first game.
Aussie's not in it.
Ended in absolute chaos. So Morocco were up 2-0. Then Argentina got one back, and then looked to have equalised in the 16th minute of 15 added minutes for injury time.
Well, that's normal. 15 added minutes.
Massive crowd troubles after Argentina's equaliser goes in. Bottles thrown to the field. At
Argentina's. Hang on, 2-1.
Yep.
Morocco's up 2-0.
That's
and then
right.
It's 2-1. And then in 15 minutes of added time, Argentina equalised in the 16th minute.
Yes, that's right. So it's basically the last kick of last
because
kick
you
of the
can
game.
have injury time on top of injury time during injury time.
You can. So bottles are thrown on the pitch at Argentina's coaching staff and players. There's images of flares landing just near the Argentinians' feet. Moroccan fans run onto the field. And then the riot police make their way into the field. The whole stadium has to be cleared out. The game then restarts 2 hours later. They go and check VAR. Argentina offside. Goal disallowed. Goal disallowed. They play an extra 3 minutes of added time. This is like now 2.5 hours later after they have to go off the field. And Morocco win 2-1 in front of an empty stadium. So that's the kind of stuff I'm looking forward to. Also staying with football, Pezza, defending gold medalist Canada, this is in the women's, have been caught spying on the New Zealand women's football team training in St. Etienne ahead of their group stage match. 2 Canadian team officials have been sent home. So New Zealand team staff members noticed a drone flying over their practice in France on Monday and notified police. Law enforcement tracked the drone back to its operator, Joseph Lombardi, and inverted commas, unaccredited analyst with the Canadian women's team, the COC said.
Wow.
So Canada ranked 8th in the world. They won the gold medal in Tokyo, and they're spying on New Zealand, who are 28th in the world. So just with a couple of drones. This goes right against the Olympic spirit. It's disappointing.
Pierre de Coubertin once again rolling in his grave, and he does a lot of that.
Is he dead?
You wouldn't think so, given how much he's rolling.
Yeah.
And it's the sort of thing that you hear and you think, well, you'd never catch Australians doing that.
Oh, God, no.
He would have been catch.
Yeah.
But no. Australians would never do that, would we?
No, they wouldn't. No. Skullduggery and,
No, not for us. Ours is more of
actions.
a sort of a pure approach to the games. It's
Well,
just...
yeah. Sort of Christian
and fairness.
ethics.
Yeah. Muscular Christianity, you might say.
Christianity, yeah.
It's about playing hard but playing fair.
That's right, yeah.
And we'll define that.
It's about playing hard on the field and then looking your opponent in the eye afterwards and shaking them out and saying, well played.
That's right. Despite them going, you behaved like an absolute fuckwit. Oh, no, we're talking about cricket. Sorry. A little while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, look, I tut that greatly.
Yeah, of course.
I just... I don't think that belongs in the Olympic spirit in any way, shape, or form.
I don't think so.
I hope the book's thrown at them. I hope they throw the book at them.
Yeah. We're talking about a couple of flag bearers, Pezza.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just moving the show along. Talking about the Americans, LeBron James gets a run with Coco Gauff, the tennis player, first American tennis player to hold the flag.
Yeah, that's pretty high profile.
Announced by Steph Curry in the US men's NBA, the US men's basketball team meeting. So
they let Curry announce it. So
they let Curry announce
being the MC, but not the best man.
Yeah, that's right. Steph Curry,
you're MC,
pretty good player himself.
Yeah, that's right.
That.
Yeah,
do you want to do this?
do you want to announce that LeBron's got it?
And there's cameras everywhere, so do it. But the Aussies, Jess Fox and Eddie Ockenden, get the job done. I'm not sure I know a lot about Eddie, if I'm honest. Apart from he's a hockey player, but that's sort of my right.
Well, now that you've said that, and I'm very surprised that you've admitted that. Why don't you tell me a few things about the Australian hockey team and what we need to understand about them?
Well, so they're playing.
Yeah, and they've been pretty good in the past.
Yeah, they have been.
I do know when I turn it on, I'll be expecting gold and I'll be greatly disappointed if gold isn't returned to the nation.
Jamie Dwyer a good player, wasn't he?
Yeah, wasn't he?
Wasn't he a good player? One of the best.
Rick Charlesworth, a great coach and a real he was a man of
he was a
many
savant,
skills.
wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a savant.
Quite a raconteur.
And he played cricket. He was quite a raconteur.
At dinner parties, they used to sort of get him up. Get up here.
Get up here, Rick.
Yeah, come on, Rick.
Hey, how many beers you had, Rick? No, once he's had 3, let him sit him down.
After 2, absolute beauty.
Buy him, get him an Uber. Oh, right.
Yeah.
What
did Rick say?
No, he was a good coach. Yeah, Jamie Dwyer's a good player.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Anyway, but Eddie Ockenden, congratulations, and Jess Fox as well.
That's right. Anything else you want to catch up on?
I just wanted to note that another one of the identities that the Olympics offers is the aging man, or the middle-aged man, and I'd say we'd be pushing that, not quite there, but we've been discussing, for example, what's this breakdancing caper that they have in the Olympics?
Yeah, that's right.
That are breaking, etc. But I had an experience this morning with my son who was variously watching the preview.
Yeah,
and he took notice of the breakdancing and said, "That looks cool.
Okay,
that looks cool." And now I'm kind of like, "No, son. What you really want." And I call him son.
Yeah.
The Olympics really should be sport for whom that sport is the apex of the sport.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But one thing I did learn about breaking is that on top of do you call it? You have your top rock, you have your bottom rock, you have your stuff at the top and the bottom, etc. Is that when it's one-on-one battles, right, in breaking.
That's right. 3 rounds.
When you come out to break, as it were, you don't know what song they're going to play.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you could be, you could be thinking, I really hope we get, Run DMC versus Jason Nevins, It's like that and that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Or
Great film clip.
Yeah, but what if you just came out to, Sinatra My Way? Fuck me.
Waltzing Matilda. Jesus Christ, what are we going to do with this?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Some John Williamson version? Yeah. Some poor Zambian comes out,
Fuck am I supposed to do with Wonderwall?
That's right. Yeah, at least give me the Slim Dusty version.
I know they call the athletes B-boys and B-girls.
Yeah.
So I learnt that break dancing was started in the 70s in the Bronx.
Yes, that's right. In New York.
That's right. And there's like world championships and stuff. And the guy who's number one, the B-boy who's number one, is an American guy from Florida. He's 30.
Right.
And then I think I was reading this by The Athletic. The American woman who I think might have won recently, like last year, her name's Sunny. I think that's right. She's 35. Okay. A little bit older.
So a bit
than
of experience into the breakdancing caper.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Look, for me, I'm reserving judgment on that kind of stuff in all seriousness, and some of the other new sports that have come in because, I don't think it's a big stretch of the imagination to be able to envisage sitting down and watching 2 breakdancers go fucking toe to toe for gold. Because if Australians there with Australian Kid on, and Run DMC's playing, I'm expecting blood and sweat to be coming off. Probably the top of the head as they spin on it.
Yeah,
and that I could see that being epic.
I do because when I was looking at that, I was like, this is the weirdest sport I've seen.
Yeah.
But it's actually, when you learn more about it, actually what you need to understand is it's cultures and new generations finding new ways to compete against each other in different avenues.
Yep.
And you compare this with, for instance, with what's happened with the UK with what's her name, Charlotte Dujardin, Douglas's daughter.
Yes.
One of the UK's most decorated Olympians. She's been sent home after a video emerged of her abusing a horse, whipping its legs to get it to perform. I'm not sure if you've seen the video. It's a tough watch, mate.
I saw a still of it,
mate. It's fucking grim. It's grim.
Yeah.
Dujardin says the video. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not. Says the video is from 4 years ago. She's apologised and said it was an error in judgment. The lawyer representing the person that leaked the video said the video is from 2.5 years ago. And she said she leaked the video because she wants to save the sport of dressage. Now, according to the BBC, Becky Moody is replacing her with her horse Jagerbomb.
Got me there.
So,
I see.
So I'm trying to say, breakdancing, pretty normal sport, as opposed to some fucking Ponzi nonsense, just trying to whip a horse to make it dance. It's not a sport.
I can already feel at least 85 boys actually at gmail.com coming in here.
Yeah, that's fine.
For breaking.
That's fine.
But yeah, whipping horses.
No good.
Later.
But so how do you go generally?
The Four Winks was a good horse.
Yeah, well, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And a beautiful horse.
Yeah,
and a hard-working horse.
Yeah, hard-working horse. Yeah.
And
Australian.
An honest horse as well.
An honest horse.
Yeah.
I'm bored of Melbourne Cup this year.
How do you feel about events like your tennises, like your golf, competing in the Olympics?
That's what I say.
Because for me,
yep,
I think that Olympic sports, the gold medal, should be the pinnacle in that sport.
Okay.
It's not a unique thought. Many people have this thought, but that's just how I feel about it. So when I'm saying tennis players playing for a gold medal or golfers, it doesn't quite feel right. It feels not dystopian, but it just feels a little off to me because this isn't the pinnacle in their sport.
Yeah.
Xander Schauffele won gold medal in Tokyo for the men's in the golf 3 years ago, and that I'm sure that's a great moment for in his life, but it wouldn't be in the top 3 moments for him in his life, given he's also won 2 majors this year.
It's like it's a very common talking point around the Olympics of like, what should qualify a sport for the Olympics. And I think when these more professionalized commercial sports come into it, it's usually a scenario where, the Olympics needs that sport more than that sport needs the Olympics.
Yes.
It's probably a TV rights thing, etc. Boring X's and O's that don't really work for a podcast.
Hence why cricket's going to be in the Olympics.
That's cricket's actually looking for another world tournament because there's not enough. But so you're wrong about that.
That's actually a good point, yeah.
Here's what I want to say about that. If I was going to talk, which I'm not, but I will.
Thank goodness.
Like, I agree with you, but would it kill some of these like golfers or tennis players when they are being interviewed about it to like not speak so casually about it? Like I've heard like so for example, for me, like Leighton Hewitt back in the day, and I think he did do this, was like, mate, I am fucking frothing on winning a gold medal for my nation.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm fucking preparing for it, and it matters to me.
That's great.
Then I'm all for tennis in the Olympics.
Yep.
Like, I just want the athletes to share in the thirst that needs to be quenched for gold, like for the medals.
I agree with that.
And when I hear, Min Woo Lee, who will be representing his nation, and it's not a country, it's a nation.
It's a nation.
Along with his sister, Min Ji Lee,
Yes.
for Australia. Like, I just want to hear the passion in the voice. Now, that just makes me superficial because he could not mean it at all.
No,
or the other way.
I think he will. Min Woo.
That's right. Like I'm saying,
he's good.
It could go the other way too. He might just speak in a very quiet manner, but the passion, the flame, the Olympic flame might burn within. Yeah. Because all I'm asking for is a flame. I don't want to hear, 6 out of 10. This is another event for me. See how we go. Hey, great to be an Olympian, and isn't it novel to be in the village? Mate, you're in the village. That's a privilege.
That's right.
And you're getting Olympic rings like tattooed. That for me, it's about character over cover drives with it.
Well said.
I can only speak in cricket parlance, by the way.
Pezzo, I learnt this. The medals in Paris are going to be handed out in a Louis Vuitton tray. How do you feel about that? Must be nice.
Yeah, I guess I'm taking this on notice. I'm blindsided by this.
Yeah, sorry.
A Louis Vuitton tray. Look, France is entitled to like provide the aesthetic that it wants to, and who am I here in like wintry, cold, dank South Melbourne to cast aspersions or judge the way the Parisians are going to be presenting the medals? I mean, if they say Louis Vuitton tray, I bet it's fucking awesome.
I'm for it.
Yeah,
I think I'm for it.
I'd take a second with that, but nothing really beats the like the classicism and the symmetry, which is a precursor to beauty of like the French aesthetic. So if they're saying Louis Vuitton tray, I can play on.
Should we talk about some athletics?
If you'd like.
Can I talk about some athletics?
Yeah.
So Noah Lyles, he got tongues wagging.
Wow.
When he said that you're not a world champion if you win the NBA, I think it was what he was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
You might remember him saying world champion of what?
Yeah. US track athlete, yeah.
That's right. Americans took that really well. He's got a great chance to win the men's 100 metres. He's second favourite, I think he is. He ran a PB of 9.81 in the final Diamond League race before the Olympics. So if he does manage to win Olympic gold in the 100 metres, the blue ribbon events, the absolute diamond event of the Olympics, then like that's going to all be come up again, and he will actually be a world champion. Although it's not, you're actually Olympic champion because they actually have world championships. Athletes, don't they? Another interesting one is Sha'Carri Richardson is favourite to win the women's 100 metres. Yeah. So she was banned from the last Olympics, you might remember, for having marijuana in her system. I think it was traces of THC from memory. She lives in Oregon where that drug is legal, but it's obviously illegal for an athlete. So she didn't even go to the Olympics, but she's favourite to win the women's 100 metres. So there's a couple of nice stories there for US track athletes in the two pinnacle events of the whole games.
Bob wrote in to boysactually@gmail.com. We encourage others to write in around the women's 100-metre goat.
Okay.
And he says, boys, actually, the most fascinating event at the Paris Olympics without an Aussie will be the women's 100-metre sprint. This will be the decider of who is the GOAT of women's sprinting and also who joins the elite hyphenated named athletes in history.
Oh, yeah.
So Elaine Thompson-Herah, 32, reigning Olympic champion from both Tokyo 20 and Rio 16, is set to achieve the Usain Bolt triple-double by winning the 100-200 double in 3 consecutive Olympics.
Okay.
So that's Elaine Thompson-Herah. Her competition is Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price, winner of the gold in Beijing 08 and London 12, also silver in Rio and Tokyo behind Thompson-Herah, and is still racing as a mother, 37 years old and dropping sub-11 second sprints.
God.
If either pull off the gold, they'll be the GOAT of women's sprinting and join the pantheon of great hyphenated names, including Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Imzamar Mulhaq, and Josh Adokar. Just a little bit of a preview from Morning After Paris there on
really
on
good.
the women's track.
I appreciate that, Bob.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, man, now might be a good time, Pezza, to hear from. I think we've got a speak pipe here.
Just one message. People know that we're continuing on our Visceral Minute. We want to hear from you and your voice. Different accents, all very welcome. It is a global event after all. You just go to speakpipe.com/Morning After Paris. Now, there's a lot to get through today. It's a long show, so I've just included the one from somebody today. We did have a lot of contributions, just off the top, a couple of English blokes saying that we're only doing this show to distract from the 100 in the UK. An Indian bloke just wanting to talk about MS Dhoni, shocked me, and a bloke definitely speaking Afrikaans, where the only thing I could make out was the name Oscar Pistorius. But that aside, this is all we had to offer today on the Speak Pipe. Here goes just the one message.
You know, one of those fucking safety names you coats read out? Well, he was my fucking primary school bully, and one time I bowled him out so fast he fucking cried. Yeah, how's that for safety, you fucking coats?
So yeah, get him in speakpipe.com/Morning After Paris. We want to hear from you.
Before we speak to our two esteemed guests today, Tom Decent and Plappy. How are you,
Plappy?
How are you, Plappy?
Hey,
Get
Plappy.
behind Plappy.
Yeah.
Get behind him.
Individual TT Saturday.
Our first Olympian. But Smith Optic Australia Pez have got behind us once again. You can use the code FAST, F-A-S-T, for 25% off at smithopticsaustralia.com. Now, I mentioned this before on the last show, but if you're new here, we're talking about protection with Koroyd and MIPS. Super safe, but super light. Integration with sunglasses is absolutely seamless. You got some shades here. I think I just got the gold shades.
You're looking real
and
fast
also
there.
and also they look good.
Yeah.
And you're wearing Molly.
Picklam, yeah.
Molly Picklam's lifestyle range.
That's right. Should be looking for gold in Tahiti there.
So for the road, you got Trace MIPS, the pinnacle helmet in Smith's Performance Road Collection is the all-new Trace. The Trace features Koroyd, which fully surrounds the helmet, providing exceptional protection and works with the internal air channels and open intake exhaust ports to produce maximum ventilation. We already know this, Pezza. And then the mountain range is the Payroll MIPS, where you can drop into any banked corners and roll flowy single track with confidence.
How's the lingo on it? That's good.
Our Vapor Fit system lets you adjust the helmet on the fly, and the MIPS layer is integrated with the fit system for a snug, cohesive fit that feels great all day. And you can wear them out if you want to. You can wear these helmets out. If you turn up to a party in these, I'm talking about the helmets.
Yeah.
People are thinking, hey, this guy's ready to go. And he's ready for anything.
My dad said when I was a child they strongly considered putting a helmet on my head because I used to fall over all the time. These are really light helmet. So consider getting these fit for your. I'm sure you can fit them to your child as well,
now,
and they'll be fast.
Let's be clear with Smith Optics. Use the code FAST, 25% off your order for sunglasses or for lids.
Yeah, sorry for the value on that, by the way, as well. 25% off.
25% off. Are you kidding? Only pay 3/4 of the price. Now, I don't think they want us to talk about the uses of wearing them at parties or for your children falling over. No. But we're just giving you a couple of options
That's
here.
right.
Thank you so much,
Smith Optics, one of the
to
great
Smith
sponsors
Optics
we've
for
ever
supporting the Morning After Paris maps. All right.
Do you want to just before we quickly go to these excellent interviews? We didn't speak properly about the condoms.
No, we didn't speak properly about it. You're right.
USA Today reported that in 2021, and this was a COVID ravaged Olympics, I'd say.
Yeah, of course.
Organisers handed out 150,000 condoms to athletes. Okay. Now, a couple of days ago, Channel 10 Australia reported that athletes would receive 300,000 condoms. Doubled up on the condom factor. And that's as an effort to raise awareness for HIV and AIDS, and that's great.
That's good stuff.
There was actually in Tokyo 2020 an intimacy ban. No, it's true. There was an intimacy ban.
Yeah.
I don't understand how it tallies that they both handed out 150,000 condoms, and there was an intimacy ban. At some level, they must have understood that humans just go anyway.
I mean, we're all seeking something.
Yeah.
And human
we better
touch
provide
is-
150K strong condoms.
So in that meeting, they've said, okay, first and foremost, let's be smart about this.
Yep.
In the village, it's COVID times.
Yeah.
We need to stop any sort of intimacy.
So we'll put a ban in place.
We'll put a ban in place.
Yeah. But as a backup.
Intern puts his hand up. I've just put an order in for 200,000 condoms.
Yeah. So give them a buzz.
Okay, they can do 150.
Yeah.
They can do 150.
Anyway, that intimacy ban's been lifted for the Paris Games. So there's 300,000 condoms around the village. Now, Laurent Michaud, the director of the Olympic Village, said there'd be 14,250 residents in the village, and he'll distribute or oversee the distribution. I don't think he'll distribute 300,000 condoms individually.
That's not stated, though.
Well, he may or may not, but 300,000 condoms for the village. That'd be 21 condoms per athlete. So if you bundle in the opening ceremony, etc., this is roughly a condom a day.
I wonder if they're Olympic branded.
I think the Olympic rings are on the packet. Yeah, and it's done by Louis Vuitton.
What better way to introduce Tom Decent?
Okay, great friend of the show, but beyond cricket, many strings to his bow. Tom Decent is a journalist with the Sydney Morning Herald, and he's quite simply the number one go-to source in Australia for poolside news, and really week one of the Olympics. And really the spirit of Australia is about the nation in the pool.
And Qantas.
And Qantas, of course, who's not a sponsor. But Tommy, you're there in Paris. Now, I'm taking this from your own rag. Authoritative pre-games modelling has calculated a final haul of 54 medals for Australia, including 15 gold. And to use Chip Legrand's language, who are the athletes, Tom, tipped to fuel Australia's record Olympic medal haul?
Doesn't that make you feel something inside? Hey?
Man, this show is going to break records for sounds, like guttural sounds.
Well, what if I told you both that I am confident that Australia will win more golds in the pool than ever?
Say more.
Jeez, mate, please.
And I'm not saying that with my Aussie pom-poms here. I say that having looked through the numbers very, very closely.
Yes.
This is a very good swimming team, and I don't think the Australian public truly appreciate it at the moment.
Mate, tell me more. Where do we? I mean, I'm Joe Public in Australia, and I want to know more. Now, particularly now that you've said that there's more gold on offer than we've even been told about. Where do I start looking?
Look,
where's the gold?
Where's the gold?
Where's the gold?
First night, right? Yeah, where do you start?
Yeah.
First night, Ariane Titmus, as you would be well aware.
Yeah.
Ariane Titmus reminds me, I was thinking before we jumped on, she reminds me of like that, that like old state cricketer who comes back to grade cricket and just like bosses the joint,
Yeah.
Just like a big fast bowler who comes back and bosses the joint. And at last year's world champs, Summer McIntosh, the Canadian up and coming star,
Upstart,
broke a world record.
Yeah.
A little bit of young punk on the block, one good innings, and Titmus just absolutely bounced the shit out of it.
Yeah.
That's good.
And Beta last year inflicted a massive psychological blow in that 400 free. And I can't see McIntosh coming back from that in Paris. Like Arnie's just doing things that are unbelievable in the pool. 200 free as well. So yeah, she's looking at 2 or 3 golds potentially. She's in the 4x2 relay. And then where else? Kaylee McEwen, a couple of golds there. Great battle with Regan Smith in the backstroke events.
Yeah.
Cam McAvoy, absolutely jacked up in the 50 free. No Aussie man has won a medal in that event in the history of the Olympics, which is bizarre given Australia's record in that race. Like, mate, I could honestly go on for an hour, but I know we've got time constraints. But they'd be the main 3 that I'd be getting up early for.
You said this the other day, TD. You said Kaylee McEwen could leave Paris next month as Australia's greatest Olympian of all time in terms of gold medals won. So she's got so she's got 3 gold medals already. Thorpe and Emma McKeon have 5. Only 10 women in history have ever won 3 individuals individual golds in the pool at a single games. You mentioned Regan Smith there, the American from I want to say Minnesota. Is that right? Is the big threat in the backstroke. So I mean, Kaylee McEwen, are we sleeping? Are we sleeping on Kaylee?
Oh, look, Kaylee's an absolute animal with respect in training. Like everyone just says, she does things that no one else can do. 100 backstroke. She's just lost a world record to Regan Smith, and I reckon it's an absolutely perfect situation for Kaylee. She'll be absolutely mad about that. Should we want to get that back? And I know world records aren't what we're here for in the Paris pool. It's all about touching the wall first, all that jazz. But should we want to get that world record back pretty quick? I reckon 200 backstroke, she probably wins that. No one's really got close to her like Reagan might. And then in the 200 IM will be the big event where she didn't race that in Tokyo, didn't race it at the World Champs in Fukuoka, got DQ'd in the semis, which was an absolute disgrace. And yeah, so that's a 3 individual gold she's looking to do. And that's like Shane Gould stuff. Like if we're going back in history, we want names, and Shane Gould's a name. And that's sort of where we're looking at for Kaylee.
You were there in Tokyo in 2021. You were poolside at the World Championships in Fukuoka, as you just mentioned last year. Multiple nationals at Melbourne, Adelaide, and then the Goldie in the past few years. Also, you've taken down Eddie Jones in the meantime. But in the pool,
disgrace what you did to Eddie.
Yeah. he's actually on after this.
It's a disgrace.
Yeah. No, but but I want to know, given that you followed the swimmers, you followed the swimmers better than anyone in Australia.
Just trying his best, Eddie. Sorry.
He's had a good run for Japan as well. Yeah. Anyway, what's a story that you've enjoyed the most since covering the swim team? What's a story that we can carry into? What are you most looking forward to?
We all love stinks and rivalry, and I reckon the US-Australian rivalry will just kick off a bit over here.
Oh, yeah.
Kate Campbell last year, a little bit of, sore loser's jibe. Might have been baited into that by Karl Stefanovic at our US friends across the pond. But the US are bringing the cowbells to the pool in Paris, and they'll be ringing them pretty loudly, which is like a thing that they do, which is a bit weird. I don't know why they do that, but they're going to bring more of them apparently. And when you got like Michael Phelps firing up, the Aussies are trying to keep a low profile, but I reckon that Aussie-US rivalry will be just awesome. I mean, obviously in Fukuoka last year at the World Champs, Australia beat the US on the medal tally for the first time since 2001, and it's never happened in an Olympic game since 1956. So, you look through the numbers, and that's something that's like possible. We need a few other countries to win gold medals and take them off the US.
Right.
But I think that could kick off. And then don't get me started on the China issue as well. That could just send the whole thing into a whole nother level.
Well, let's separate them out. We'll stick with the US first, because it's kind of like swimming carnival stuff, isn't it? And you're there. You're there poolside. Like how does the rivalry express itself beyond US obnoxious cowbell ringing, that's just how they like to play. That's just like traveling around anywhere internationally. There's essentially a cowbell being rung, and it's the form of the accent. But like you're there poolside. Are the Aussie swimmers very aware of the rivalry with the US? Like, is it a source of motivation for the guys, or are they so finely tuned that it's just about getting up and back for them?
Yeah, I mean, they'd probably roll out the cliches and say it doesn't matter, but I know for a fact they would love to beat the US, and they believe this is their best opportunity to do that, so they're not going to try and let that pass. Like, this is a once in a generation Aussie swimming team, and they'll be doing everything they can.
It's a generational team. Oh my god!
Oh god! No, it is. Like if you're comparing the pair in Tokyo, Australia won 9 gold medals, and in Sydney 2000, how many golds do you think Australia won off the top of your head?
80,000.
There was like 5 or something, wasn't it?
5. Higgos. That is
hell,
very
Higgos.
good from you. So 5 in the pool, which goes to show that everyone thinks that era was the absolute, creme de la creme. But this team is very, very good as well, and it's also the underdog stuff as well. Like, they got more than 300 million people. The Aussies are just battlers, and
the narrative is
You're
out of
hitting all
control.
the notes, Tommy.
And you said creme de la creme as well. Someone's been in Paris for 4 days.
Yeah, that was a bit stupid, but anyway,
mate, that's so awesome. Okay, China. So your most recent piece, the headline was drug testers promised to heavily target Chinese swimmers. They kept their word. So can you give us some background and context to the focus on drug testing Chinese swimmers, TD?
So in April, it came out that 23 Chinese swimmers had tested positive to a banned substance before the Tokyo Olympics, but were allowed to compete.
That would have been a mistake. Sorry.
Yeah, the kitchen was contaminated, as per the Chinese, who ran their own state-run investigation. And then WADA said, no, we can't get in there to investigate ourselves, so we'll accept your version of events. We won't name these swimmers, we won't suspend them provisionally, and you can keep competing. Some of those athletes won gold medals. You can imagine that across the world that went down well, given that...
All fair enough and play on, I guess. Mistakes can happen vis-a-vis performance-enhancing drugs, and we play on in the spirit, Pierre de Coubertin spirit.
Yeah, and Dennis Cottrell, former Aussie swimming coach, Grant Hackett's mentor, believes that it was a simple case of, infected food and all the rest, which is good
with heart medication. But, you can always slip heart medication into food that accidentally.
That can happen.
Yeah, no systematic doping according to Dennis. All the rest. So that's gone down really well with the Aussies privately. Some of those athletes who are going to compete against the Chinese. Zach Stubblety-Cook, who lost his world record to Chin Hyang in the 200 breaststroke at last year's World Champs. And then Chin got up on the lane rope and did a few of these ones just to really rub it in.
Rig probably was looking good.
Yeah, that all sounds pretty good.
So the Chinese at the moment have been not hiding, but they're a couple of hours out of Paris at their little base. And I'm tipping when they get to the pool and there's a few cameras around, it'll be a big story. So yeah, it's just frustration that someone like Shayna Jack, in the very similar circumstances, had to spend 2 years fighting to clear her name and was named and provisionally suspended, couldn't compete in Tokyo. So spoke to Shayna at trials, and I think she's going to keep her powder dry until after the Olympics. Doesn't want to say too much, but if the Chinese swimmers, some of them win those gold medals and take them away from Aussies or other swimmers, Great Britain's Adam Peaty springs to mind, my life could be very busy for a few days.
See, Shayna Jack actually had the same kitchen problem. I think it was the same thing.
The old harmony.
Actually a dodgy Chinese in the end. It was actually a Zhao Longbao. Did her in.
I feel like we're tiptoeing around.
Do you want to talk about swimming?
Yeah, swimming. Tom, you've been at the pool. You've been. I keep saying poolside because it just feels good to say it. But you've seen it in the flesh. Can you just run us through the pool? Is it a fast pool? What are they tipping about the pool and the properties of the pool and its capacity to aid swimmers getting to and from?
The fast pool thing is the funniest thing in swimming, right? Like coaches and swimmers get there and they go, we're going to go fast pool.
It's just like a deck in cricket though, isn't it? Like they just get, that's quick.
No, I know. Look, I'm happy to declare it looks fast from the first, 20 minutes or so. I got to have a look at it yesterday. Yeah. It's a shallow pool. It's 2.3 meters deep. Apparently, they're usually 3 meters deep. I'm not I don't know what that means, but if it's times aren't good, we know that it needs to be deeper.
Maybe the rabbit camera that follows it will be more of a close-up as well, so you get to see a bit more rig shot. Yeah. So,
but it's the biggest stadium I've seen for a swimming pool. Like it's space. They play rugby there as well at that venue, and concerts as well. So it's pretty impressive. But it'll be it's the hottest ticket in town, obviously, every time. And night one will be something else. Like you can't basically get a ticket at the moment as expected. But be very cool.
Tommy, you're at Boomers v France the other night. Boomers got it done in the last second or so. Speaking of making noises over athletes, how big is Wemby?
Bro, I didn't know much about the bloke until we got there.
Perfect.
So awesome.
Yeah. Perfect. And he's comfortably the biggest bloke I have seen in my life. He's an animal. And we were, courtside, and it's just incredible what he's like. It reminded me of Space Jam where they're like all the big guys. These ones. Yeah, he's an animal and play really well in Australia. Won that game though, obviously, which was a good little warm up. But the French are going mad for the Olympics already. Like
really,
we're handing out flags before you go in, and if there's anyone coming over or watching, like I would highly recommend watching the France, basketball team play, because that was one of the best atmospheres I've ever experienced. So it was very cool. But yeah, Wemby, big man, good player.
And did you take the opportunity to respect Australia's own Josh Giddey, aka Slob Wizard, for his which is named after sidelines out of bounds passing that he's able to do? So just to even things up with Wemby. They've got Wemby, we've got Slob Wizard.
Yeah.
That's what they call him.
He's a cool cat.
Yeah.
Do they?
Don't shoot the messenger.
No, Giddy's a cool cat. Had a good game. He did a little press conference in the main press centre the next day and said that he thinks this is Australia's best chance of a gold in men's basketball, which again makes us all feel something. Inside, given they won a bronze in Tokyo and a couple of near misses before that. So if the Boomers get going and they're all on, that's the stuff you feel inside.
By the time this comes out, Tommy, this will have already been announced, but Jess Fox, obviously born in Marseille, is favourite to be the flag bearer. Have you come across Jess? I think you might have done it. I'd been at a press conference with her recently. Is that right? Have you come across her?
Yeah, she was up with her sister Noemi, who is also here on the team. Yeah, she's done a couple of media ops as well. And again, I think it gets named in a few hours, but I would be very surprised if she wasn't one of the flag bearers, given her French heritage. So, yeah.
Interesting, one of. Okay, well, I guess we'll find out once this comes out. Just more broadly as well, Tommy, like you just mentioned going to the French basketball game and handing out flags and stuff. Like, can you give us a sense of how the Olympics is being received on the home front? Like, obviously here in Australia, we're just we just got our heads in the sand, thirsting and wanting to quench our thirst for Australian gold. But at every Olympics, there's domestic issues that always, simmer around games. Like, are you getting any sense about whether the French public is behind the Olympic Games, whether there is any fever or charged atmosphere to be observed?
Hard to say.
Yeah, I've asked you to speak on behalf of all French people, but try your best.
Look, there's been a few site issues, like a couple of Nine staff got assaulted the other day, so that's not a great start. There's just been a few little issues, I think. So I don't know whether they're all on board. I think there might be a bit of petty crime going on, but generally, I think for sure. I think they're going to have to get used to us asking, can we get a piccolo? Why can't we get a piccolo? What's an noisette?
The French really like that generally, don't they? And you speak in English as well.
Well response,
yeah. They love not being able to speak French, but that's been pretty good. I think all the fans and punters will sort of roll in over the next few days before the opening ceremony, and hopefully that all goes off without a hitch and no security problems. But it'll be a great game. Some of the venues that we've been to are incredible and very iconic as well. Like the beach volleyball under the Eiffel Tower looks, as you probably would have seen the photos, looks off the charts. So it'll be great games, hopefully. And security aside, I'd love to ask some people. My French is awful, so there's no point. I've got no idea if they're enjoying it.
Well, we have a Gmail account called boysactually@gmail.com for anyone who wants to correct us or just add any information. So if you want to help Tom decent with his French, boysactually@gmail.com, and we'll flick it through to Tommy. Tommy, thanks so much for joining us. Sydney Morning Herald journo. He is the #1 pool operator, so looking forward to reading what you've got to come up with in the next couple of weeks. I was going to say pieces, but that word's ruined. Mate, all the best. Hope you enjoy the games and hope to catch up with you soon if someone doesn't get in touch and say you're not allowed to talk to Tom anymore.
Well, it was fun while it lasted. Thanks, boys.
Okay, this is a monumental day for our humble sports coverage, Higgos. We welcome our first ever Olympian to the program. Luke Plapp, 3-time national time trial champion on the bike there, has had some excellent recent finishes in the Giro d'Italia. And he joins us from Paris on Wednesday morning ahead of his showdown race for gold this Saturday on a course that commences upstream from the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, yeah. Hitting some notes there, Pez.
He goes, so this man is 72 hours out.
Right.
From going for gold, and he joins us. He joins morning after Paris. Plappy, thanks for being the first ever Olympian to give us a crack.
No, thank you, gentlemen. It's brilliant to be here. The vibes are pretty high. I'm still pretty starstruck walking around the village, and I saw Leighton Hewitt yesterday, so that was it's pretty cool when you wake up. Well, I've been waking up since I was a little kid watching the Olympics and idolising these blokes, and then you see Leighton and you're just like, you just want to go up and be like, what's going on, man? He feels like such an approachable bloke and just a good Aussie. So, it's pretty awesome being here in the village. In Tokyo, I wasn't able to be in the village just with all the COVID. So it's definitely the Olympic experience this time around.
Mate, I love that because you've also just dropped there. You're a second-time Olympian now as well. 23 years old. Like, you're described as a young gun of the cycling team, but you're a second-time Olympian. And I just got to say, like, on TGC, like, we can get cynical and skeptical talking about cricket, and it's hard to, like, rise to our level of cynicism. But just listening to an Olympian talking about the vibes being high in the village, I'm getting shivers. I'm serious. Like, this is such a deeply cliched question, but I'm going to do it anyway. Like, what is the mood in camp? Like, what's the mood in the Australian Olympic team, and who is in your top 3 people you want to see knocking around the village?
Well, it's probably the most exciting place you could be, I reckon. Like, it is. You've got the world's best athletes, and everyone's just absolutely buzzing because the games haven't started, so all the anticipation's there. No one's nervous just yet, so everyone's like really chatty. Saw all the Aussie swimmers, so that was like they're the ones we sort of idolise and you get to see on TV as they're always the gold medal winners. Leighton Hewitt was a good one, but I reckon I've got to go around to the other countries soon and network with those and see which superstars we can find from the other countries. But so half the Aussie contingent's here at the moment, I reckon, because obviously, like, if you're racing in the second week, you're not here yet. But the swimmers are in town at the moment. Hockey players, basketballers are floating in and out. Paddy Mills would probably be a number one ticket item for me.
Millsy.
Plappy, what's the accommodation like? How many condoms have you received? How are the cardboard beds?
Cardboard beds are fine. There's 300,000 condoms floating around.
Floating around.
Just in your room? Yeah.
Yeah, just in my room. Just getting prepared for after Saturday. So,
so nothing pre.
Sorry. Might find myself an Olympic gold medalist wife or something. But
so genetics as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great chance to partner up again just to produce offspring.
It's the greatest place to do it, isn't it? Like,
you tell me, mate. I haven't been there.
Of getting an Olympic athlete is pretty good.
That's good. Plappy, keep going.
But no, it's a massive village. Like, it's basically a small town in Oz. There's probably 50, 60 buildings. I've only walked basically a quarter of it. There's a nightclub in town. There's a few food halls. But no, it's just an absolutely sort of amazing vibe floating around. And you go 6 p.m. every single night, the Fiji and rugby sevens players basically do a choir. Those boys have voices of angels walking up the street singing. So it is pretty cool seeing that. And I guess all the other countries with their kits, like a lot of them we've just got obviously Aussie polos and shorts, but they've got their full, like, I guess, hometown attire, like seeing the Scottish walking around in kilts and that. So, it's quite cool seeing the other countries.
That's awesome. I was just like, this is very juvenile, but like, how is the kit? Yeah, like, because didn't you all just receive your kit recently? Like, you're happy with the kit? The kit result? I mean, you're Victorian Institute of Sport guy. You're on a cricket scholarship growing up. We know some stuff about you. Like, you're an athlete. You would have received a lot of kit in your time. You're also a cyclist, which is heavy on kit, just as an aesthetic generally. Are you happy with the Olympics kit?
Yeah, it's good kit. It's good kit. I've only got out the key items that I need. I've got the ASIC suitcase, which is packed to the brim, just full. I'm going to keep all that stuff fresh because the boys back home absolutely love rocking around the park. My best mate,
imagine that
footy cricket training, just like flexing it. Like, they just love flexing it. So I keep most of it as much as I can. I'll keep for them and hand it out because it's sort of once the games finish, you don't really wear it as an Olympian. You don't really rock around in it again after the games. But like, Dad still rocks around in all my Tokyo stuff, and the boys can have the Paris stuff.
Wait, are we to believe that you've never worn your Tokyo 2021 kit to Bunnings or to Woolies? You've never worn Australian kit. Don't lie.
Yeah, or in the shower.
No, I haven't, but I don't reckon the day goes past that Dad hasn't put something on. Whether it's the jocks, the socks, cheeky little pair of shorts, he will put it on every single chance he gets.
Now that's the story of how you got into cycling, wasn't it? Or at least the official story, that you accompanied your dad on morning rides. He was on a morning coffee ride, sort of age 12 or something like that. So is it Dad that gets you into cycling when you realise I'm quite quick on two wheels here?
Yeah, exactly that. It was, well, to be honest, it was more for fitness for footy and cricket. He was going for rides with his mates, and I was like, oh, I'll just go for some morning training and just try to get fitter for footy and cricket. So I did that before school really early, and then sort of just took off from there. I was with some pretty good mates through school and in my local cricket team, and they were absolute guns. One of them, Fergus O'Neill, who's with the Bushrangers at the moment, and Renegades.
Yeah.
So he's a super close mate. So when you're playing with the likes of them, you know you're not going to make it very far. And then it was never going to be big enough or good enough at footy. So cycling sort of just paved the way. And the Olympics was what I was all about when I was younger. That's what I always wanted to do and be a part of. Mainly just to get the Olympic ring tattoo. That was what it's all about. So. Yep. I had to go to the Olympics to be able to get that tattoo. So that was the whole reason for it.
A lot of sacrifice for some ink.
Now, cyclists, your mammals, your weekend warriors, they just love talking numbers. You know, I've done 870 Ks this week. You know, they love talking numbers. I mean, to make it to the top level, like you have, Plappy, you know, what kind of numbers are we talking about per week here for you on the bike?
So it's 30 hours a week on a sort of big week, 25 on an average, and that's probably anywhere from 700 to 1,000 K. Obviously, it depends. Yeah. When I'm back home in Bright, where I am in Oz, it's a lot of mountain stuff, so the Ks aren't as big because you're going up a hill. But here in Europe, it's a lot more. But it's definitely changed. Like the last Olympics, I was on the track, so it was a lot. It was only a 4-kilometer race and a lot shorter stuff, and Saturday week, the road race is 270K long. So it's things have changed in the last few years between Olympics. But yeah, it's a pretty big workload now compared to what it used to be.
Mm. Speaking of your event on Saturday, Plappy, the individual TT, I'm just saying, I mean the time trial, of course, to those who aren't aware, the TT's time trial. Yeah. Flat 32.4K course out and back from the Eiffel Tower. You know, to be honest, we came across you with somebody who wrote into us unsolicited with a cycling preview. Someone decided to send us a cycling preview and mentioned that, you know, you're a big sniff for a medal. Now, is this person who wanted to remain anonymous, you know, are they correct? Have you got, you know, your eye on some medals here? Because you're a bronze medalist from Tokyo 2020, different event, mind you. But how are we feeling ahead of Saturday? Can you give the listeners, the viewers, a bit of a summary of what to expect from the individual time trial?
Yeah, well, like you said, we told the Tour de France to get stuffed, and they had to go to Nice to finish their race because the Olympics took precedent in Paris. So it's a pretty amazing location to race. It's that's definitely like the talk around the village too, is like who's got the best location for their event. I would say beach volleyball's taken the win at the moment. I don't know if you've seen that arena, but it's pretty spectacular. But no, this is it's the first TT I've done at the games, and sort of the road's a lot more of you progress as you get older, apart from probably the favourite who's 18 or 19 and an absolute freak. But yeah, I'd like to hope we're around that 5th mark. That's where I'd be pretty satisfied with. And then obviously, if you can sneak into 3rd, I think that'd be brilliant for me. But again, it's probably just building more this TT towards LA and Brizzy Olympics as well. So learn as much as I can here. But yeah, on my best day, I'd hope I'm around that 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th sort of mark, and hopefully it's 3rd. But yeah, we'll see how we go.
A lot of Aussies will be listening to that, Plappy, and I hope I can call you Plappy, and be thinking, well, if we're aiming for around the 5th mark, then you also have the intangible Aussie spirit as well, which might take you up to a 3rd, 2nd. Maybe you are looking at maybe something happens. You know what I'm saying? Can you tell us about the Aussie spirit just from an Olympic perspective? When you're out there, you know, riding back into the Eiffel Tower. Is there any commentary going through your head? Is there anything around Aussie spirit through your head, or is it literally just being a professional cyclist and getting through the next phase?
Well, the problem, unfortunately, we don't have like those big name commentators doing it for the cycling. They're all like cycling gurus, and they're not big names. Like if you had Dennis Cometti commentating the cycling, I think that's where you'd lift an extra little bit, wouldn't you? Just so it goes global. But no, it's the spirits are very high, and this is sort of what I live for. So it is pretty special. I've got my 2 best mates flying over from Oz to be here as well. So they'll come watch this, and then we head over to the Amalfi Coast after that for a little bit of a piss up post Olympics.
What a trip!
Do you get to hang around the village like post? Well, you're doing road race, right? So you'll be hanging around the village a bit.
Yeah, so I've got a week in between racing, which is awesome. And the road race is a lot less pressure event. Like there's 90 blokes in the race and it's 7 hours long, so anything can happen over that time. Whether the TTs, it's you and the clock, so it's a lot more of a focused build up and a bit more nervous. But the road race is a lot more casual, so I'll be able to enjoy that next week. And then unfortunately I have to leave within 2 days after our event, so I won't be there for the whole second week, but I'll fly back in the last 2 nights of comp and do the closing ceremony as well. So I'll be around a fair bit, which is nice. But it's a shame, like with COVID and the protocols, I don't want us like hanging around camp for a full week, just meeting and greeting people and networking. So yeah, that's sort of it's good, but there's some parts that we're still suffering a bit, I guess.
Oh, it'd be like schoolies if the athletes just hung around. Puppy, I want to ask you, for the road race, are people throwing thumbtacks on the road like they do in Tour de France? Can a couple of Aussies sort out this 18-year-old on the road? A couple of thumbtacks, maybe slip you up into a gold or a silver?
Yeah, I reckon we should be able to sort that out, shouldn't we? No, it's we had a big meeting yesterday about protests and things going on. So they're expecting it. So we can sort someone out, can't we?
I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can put a word in.
Yeah.
I saw this quote from you earlier in the year in January. You said, "I aspire to be an Olympic champion. That's why I really ride a bike and want to be an athlete, whether it happens in Paris this year, LA or Brisbane. It's a long way off, but Brisbane is where I want to finish my career. I plan my life around riding an Olympic cycle."
Oh yeah.
I mean, when did that? I mean, you're 23 years old, so 3 years ago you were 20 for Tokyo. So I mean, when did this sort of Olympic cycle in your life start for you?
The first ones I remember were Beijing. So I was 7 at the time watching Beijing, and that was sort of where you see like the swimmers were taking the absolute piss, winning golds. So that was sort of where it all started, and just like aspiring to be an Olympian from there. And yeah, like you sort of said, I sort of just, my whole season or career is every 4 years. That's sort of what I build towards and think about. Like as soon as Tokyo finished, it was all building up to this. And I think having Brizzy as that final games would be a pretty special thing. Like your closing ceremony, be your retirement party, you'd have family and friends and just be able to spend it on the Gold Coast and Brizzy for the next few weeks. It'd be pretty epic.
Finishing career, Brisbane, gold. I'd ask you to stay on the bike until then. I don't have to do anything there, and you have to just do all of that training.
Or maybe just pivot to shooting or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, just swap sports.
Well,
I'll do it if I have to.
Speaking of sports, Plappy, you just mentioned earlier, and I know we're talking about this off air, and it's just the case with so many people in Australian sport. Cycling seems to be the fallback because footy and cricket didn't really take off for you. Like you were on a cricket scholarship down here in Melbourne at high school. Are you a footy nuff like everybody else down here, where like if you had your dreams, you'd actually just be playing in the AFL, and you just had to fall back to Olympic medals?
Yeah, to be fair, like if everyone asked me if you weren't a cyclist, what would you do? I'd either be Pat Cummins or Cam Smith and play golf in the blue comp probably. I think Paddy Cummins probably got the best job in the world. Cam Smith just does what he wants and earns stupid amount of money. But yeah, I went to school with Butters and a few of those boys as well from they play for a heap of team now, like Buku, Karmas and that. So it's pretty cool to be able to have a lot of mates in different codes and watching them do their thing. I wake up for every Carlton game early over in Europe and wouldn't miss it for the world. We've got a bit of a problem. The World Championships this year for cycling is on grand final day. So I've already let the team know that I will not be there if Carlton are playing at MC. So
hang on, you say you're going to miss the World Championships of your own profession if Carlton's in the grand final.
Well, I've gone to the last 5 world titles, and I'm 23. I haven't seen Carlton, so it could be another 23 years waiting. So I'm not going to miss out.
That's awesome. Hey, can I just finish off with it's a really earnest, solemn question, Plappy? And if we had the chance to talk to other athletes, I'm going to ask them as well. But Like just unapologetically, patriotically, like what does it mean to represent Australia at the Olympics, and what does it mean to you to be an Olympian?
I think it's realizing a childhood dream, and also knowing that these Olympians inspired me back in the day to want to be one. So I think it's sort of us. We're such a sporting nation, and all these kids are going to be waking up really early in Oz in the middle of the night to watch us do our thing. So for me, it's to inspire as much as you can, and also be able to connect and try be like as sociable as I can to inspire them and just see that we're normal people. But yeah, for me, this is the biggest event in the world. I don't think there's anything bigger in any sport, in anything you can do. So for me, it's the most exciting place to be. It's what I live for, and hopefully can chase the ultimate gold medal one day.
Luke Plappy, thanks so much for joining us on Morning After Paris. If you want to tune in to Plappy's ride, we're going to be looking at around just after midnight through to 2 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. That's for us. That's Plappy in the individual TT, and then the road race the following week. Thanks so much for joining us, mate. Have a sensational time in Paris. All the best for Saturday. Medal, don't medal, doesn't matter. Everyone's really proud of you, and we're so grateful that you joined us here.
Beautiful. Cheers, boys. If we get a medal, I'll jump back on the next morning with you.
Oh hell fuck yeah. Fuck yes, Plappy.
Lovely. Thanks, boys. Have a good one.
Hey, great to chat to Tom.
Yeah. I'm
great
buzzing.
Chat to Plappy.
Yeah.
Wasn't that nice? Plappy, get behind him.
Mate, first ever Olympian on the show.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's big for us.
That's nice. And also we learned that he's mates with Fergus O'Neill.
That's right.
The opening bowler
Fergus.
for the Victorian cricket team. We did not know that. Research always helps. So yeah, please send in your messages to Plappy. Get behind him. And also please do share the love around for Morning After Paris. I know, obviously, previously this channel has been mostly about cricket. And so some people have been like, that's not for me. Yeah. Morning After Paris, please do share the love amongst your friends. Share some links around, share our stories perhaps, and spread the message for Morning After Paris. That would mean a great deal to us as we, just try and make some things happen here.
That's right.
Morning After Paris.
That's right.
Try and find for people new ways for people to enjoy the Olympic Games.
That's right. Just enjoying sport generally.
Yeah.
A lot of people enjoyed correcting us on Boys Actually.
They really did.
Should we get to that segment now?
Let's talk about Boys Actually.
Boys Actually is taken off. Literally, boysactually@gmail.com. 150 emails sitting in there following, which is 72 hours post launching it.
Yeah.
So people enjoy doing it. And if we have made mistakes on this show, boysactually@gmail.com, let us know. If you've got a tidbit, some people write in with their tidbits. Someone called a titbit, so unaware of the lingo there as well.
Yeah.
But if you've got a tidbit that can just, as Higgos did excellently on the last show where we were discussing the 4x1, where Thorpe overcame Gary Hall Jr. I made that mistake. Where he goes, let everybody know that and actually Thorpe had finished the 400 free
and won
a couple of minutes earlier and won. Just beautiful tidbit there on top. If you've got any tidbits on any aspect of the Olympics, we'd love to hear it. But I've got a couple of Boys Actually see. Have you got some as well? Or do you want me just to go through? Yeah, okay. So if we've doubled up, I apologise. So I want to finish on a big one, but a couple of short ones here. This is from Zach, and he titles it Vis-a-vis Andrew Hoy. People remember Andrew Hoy being a decorated Olympian for Australia.
Yes.
He just wrote, went to 8 Olympics, actually, I think you'll find. Missed out this year, don't know why. Maybe he couldn't circuit after 5 decades around horses.
Hugh wrote in, Pezza, he said, some swimming insight. Kate Campbell said the winner is the swimmer who slows down the least. I found that to be quite profound. Hugh at Queenscliff.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, Queenscliff, he should know, around water.
I did see the SMH Visual Stories team the other day do a very in-depth piece, and it looked wonderful around the anatomy of a swimming race.
Right.
And obviously, and it starts off with the premise that there's different ways to swim in a swimming race.
And skin a cat.
Which
is in the 2030. That's actually in Brisbane.
I get a cat. It's like, here's 6 different ways I can remove its skin from it. The normal fucking...
That'll be in Brisbane.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's actually an issue with feral cats in Queensland at the moment.
Still remember in 2001 when my cricket coach said that to me around bowling. There's plenty of ways to skin a cat. I just looked at him.
While he was holding a cat.
Why are we talking about skinning cats?
Just want to buy an offie.
Anyway, sorry, yeah, I was like, surely it's just when you use your energy in a swimming race.
Yeah.
Surely that's what
just who gets there quickest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I may as well skip actually to the email we got on that.
Okay.
This wasn't what I was going to say, but email came in on the swimming Boys, not a correction, rather vis-a-vis a tidbit, not to be confused with titbit, to come over the top of a basic piece of information best delivered out the side of your mouth. In the modern Olympic era, how many Australian female athletes have successfully defended an Olympic title? 1. Dawn. And she did it back to back to back.
Oh.
Now, not only is Dawn's goddaughter, Lani Pallister, at her debut Olympics in the pool, given the calibre of our defending female gold medalist from Tokyo in the pool, you'd have to think we're about to witness a bit of history. Thanks for cooking my algorithm. And then this person, who I won't say, followed up with an email, said, boys, just by way of follow-up and a slight clarification, so his boys actually did himself.
Okay, yep.
That should have read how many Australian female swimmers have successfully defended an Olympic title. So I'm sorry to everyone out there who heard that first one and just started fucking typing.
Hang on a sec.
Now send it in anyway. If you're halfway through that email, send it in.
Send it.
Boysactually@gmail.com. But this guy's boys actually did himself.
He's done it himself.
As opposed to female athletes of any discipline on the Australian team. I wrote this email in haste, having not starts to explain why.
So he's actually done a me actually.
That's right, yeah.
Me actually.
I wrote this email in haste, having not completed the episode, and your swimming chat in the last 10 minutes, particularly medal chances and relay selections, got me good. Suffice to say, there were a few holes, but that's at least... But that's at least more than half of your charm.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
We are getting fucking dunked on. But like people for whom we've spoken down to over cricket, and that is the grade cricketers, right? Sure. This is their time to come and fucking dunk for 2.5 weeks. But Ben dunked, by the way.
Well,
hang on. He's gone on, this guy, and said, all that is to say, I'd be happy to jump on a call. Either on background or for the show. No expectations. To provide you with a level of info to help navigate week 1 of the games from a swimming perspective.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For context, I used to, and I'm not going to tell you, he's actually told me quite a senior role that has been held within swimming.
Okay.
And what he does now as well. So good rounded knowledge base. I think there's plenty of stuff you can have some fun with. And as we know, swimming sets the tone for the whole games. And then, so given yours and my good friend Tommy Decent may be caught up, in some stuff that's, I think, about to be announced, I'm happy to help in whatever way you need. If it's of interest, give me a call on the number below any time. So
He used to clean pools in the neighbourhood.
What I wouldn't give.
I've got a bit of knowledge. Well, to that end, Pezza, Bill wrote in. I said, I assume I'm a few days behind, but did Higgos say something about the Roman Empire? Olympics, clearly Greek.
Fair enough.
The Olympics fell away when Greece fell to Rome in the 2nd century, Pezza. Emperor Theodosius, a Roman emperor, banned the Olympic Games in 393 AD.
Of course,
in
AD.
order to promote Christianity. He deemed the games equivalent to paganism and had them done away with.
Right.
So if you're going to dunk, just make sure that someone's made a mistake.
Are you suggesting that the ancient Olympics originated from Rome?
The Greeks started the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then when the Romans,
no question.
when Greece fell to the Romans, the Romans cut it because they were promoting Christianity and they thought the Olympics was promoting paganism.
Yeah. Oh, indeed. Right. And people who heard you on the last show were like, Higgos has just invoked the name ancient Rome and therefore believes that that the Romans commenced the Olympics.
That's right. Yeah.
So you're right.
So I win.
Yeah.
But I've already said like 19 things incorrect in this show. So you got to be careful with that.
Speaking of it's not so much a correction, but I think this is important knowledge. This is from Tanisa, who writes in saying, boys, actually, I need you guys to mention our skateboarding medal hopes this Olympics at least once because it's insane how underrated our skateboarders are.
Now we're talking.
In the Aussie media's medal contention coverage.
Fuck yeah, now we're talking.
There are some records and world championships that these guys have won within the last couple of years which will get you licking your lips Shubman Gill thirst trap style. Can't be fucked naming them. But the Aussie...
I'm going to write an email. I'm not going to name names.
I'm going to take the time to write to you, but CBF naming them. But the Aussie skateboarding scene is up there with the US and Japan.
Oh,
Keegan Palmer, 21, Arissa True, 14, Chloe Cavell, 14 for men's park skateboarding, women's park skateboarding and women's skateboarding street respectively. For men's park skateboarding, women's park skateboarding, and women's skateboarding street, respectively, will give us medals for sure. Brackets, hope Keegan defends his gold medal from Tokyo. Can't wait for your Olympics coverage this year.
All right, okay.
So let's fucking get behind the skateboarders.
I like that stuff. I like this one as well from Luke. Boys, listening to the preview pod for MAP, talking about Cook and Pothas and Kathy Freeman winning gold in Sydney. Cook and Pothast, the beach volleyballers.
Yeah.
Kathy Freeman being Kathy Freeman. Those two medals happened on the same day, 25th of September. Beach volleyball unexpected goal was Australia's 99th Olympic gold medal, meaning that Kathy got to win our 100th. Natalie Cook spoke at a Salvo's charity breakfast this year, talks about how they had the spotlight for a few hours until Kathy took it off them for good. The three of them all text each other on the 25th of September every year. Not that funny an email, I guess, haha. But she was funny telling the story. Anyway, I look forward to the pod over the next few weeks.
After dinner speaking. Yeah.
Now, I didn't realise that, or at least I'd forgotten that was on the same day. And also nice that, just flicking a text.
Freeman, 100th as well.
Oh, that's
even better.
That's glorious.
Jordan said, Garçons, when Napoleon sticks it between Mbappe's legs, he's going to shout, Petit pont, brackets, little bridge. The open legs looks like a little bridge. Now, another email comes in entitled Napoleon Gear. Boys, if you're expecting Napoleon Bonaparte to make an appearance at the 33rd Olympiad, you'll be waiting a while. If he couldn't get a Guernsey at the second games in 1900, I can't see him getting a berth 124 years later. My mail is that it's his Corsican heritage was the biggest barrier in 1900, despite the Murdoch media disseminating that it was that he'd been dead for 79 years. He's also been throwing around a fair bit of back in my day, there was a lot less shit in the Seine.
Joe Biden dead. Napoleon dead.
Now,
What to believe?
I got two more, if that's all right.
Yeah,
Higgos.
please.
Are you finished there as well? Just
probably.
to wrap up. James titles his Australian journalist Butcher canoe medal hopeful name in embarrassing live display.
Now we're talking.
Boys actually, Jess Fox, and if you could preface every email with boys actually.
Yeah, it does help to set the tone.
Thank you. It helps us read on as well.
Yeah.
Jess Fox's sister competing at the games is, and then he just writes her name.
Yeah.
Noemi. So Fox rather than Naomi. Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Now, any danger if you... And it says, would love this message to anonymous under the pseudonym Dorito Sniffer. If lucky enough to be read out. Cheers, lads, XX.
Yeah.
But yeah, Noemi is what we're looking for. But just to finish off here, and I have to say with this, I just thought this was a disgraceful email, and I just want to finish on that note,
please,
if that's okay.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of paragraphs, so not so much strap in, but no names here, just howdy. It's 11:30 a.m. and I'm walking to an appointment having just finished a 3-hour, hour 20 study session. I'm a 29-year-old Australian male and I've just recently begun studying to be a primary school teacher. Brackets, we need more male primary school teachers. And that's in quotes as well. He goes, I know, that's part of why I'm doing it. Knowing that I'm needed, let alone wanted, makes me feel good. I decided to listen into your preview show of the Olympics review show. And I can't help but see a shimmering reflection of my study topic staring back at me as I proceed to the doctor's office. Pezza alluded to it, and I feel your show will benefit from hearing an excerpt from what I am reading. You are both closet intellects, incorrect, which is exactly where I align with you in the show. I think if you can somehow drill down on these topics while simultaneously upholding our pride for our athletes and love for athletic and sporting achievement, it will be a marvellous feat. Now, this is the quote. This is from Rudolph and Brown, 2022. This is uni stuff, right? So... Likewise, positive stereotypes as signifiers of whiteness can be considered as intrinsic to the Australian nation-building project, including the interwar representation of the Anzac digger, the larrikin and the battler, the sportsman and the bushranger, to name a few. Such stereotypes signify whiteness intertwined with Australianness that epitomise notions of pioneering masculinity, anti-authoritarianism, mateship and resourcefulness. Not only do these tropes exclude women from the nation-building project, they also deny and succeed in excluding any marginalised voice from participating in the broader narrative of Australian nationhood. Now, the writer goes on with his own words and says, there's a clear connection between the nation-building project of the colonial settlers and the fostered image of successful Australian Olympic athletes, always coming back to the men and women of the pool with the tracksuits and the wet blonde or brunette hair, combed back like their parents have just dressed them in their pyjamas after bath time. And if they behave well, they can have a warm Milo. stood in a row ready to say goodnight to the adults, waving to the TV viewers. While the warm, potentially bubbling, if not steaming hot feelings of adoration rise up in our stomachs and the salt water wells in our eyes, Julian Lennon, while fixated on that greyish eucalypt green tracksuit, remembering the heady, chloronic aromas of the swimming centre where we learned to swim and taste the salt and vinegar chips that Mum would buy to get us through until dinner, which she hasn't started on. But in what way does this image seek to include all who migrate to Australia and go to the beach wearing jeans? Look forward to your coverage, fellas. Now, I just don't know what he's talking about.
I've never read anything so unrelatable.
Yeah, I that has gone over my head.
But let us know if
The
you know
Olympics
what he's
is
talking
about gold. It's about success. It's about overlapping the Australian blueprint of superiority when it comes to sport, resilience, courage, bravery, skill over every other nation. And the way they look and the way they behave is consummate, perfect Australian-ness. And we should all aspire to be it. And we'll be covering that 30 minutes a day from Sunday, when we will be welcoming you with an Ariane Titmus gold.
See you on Sunday.